5:30 in the morning. The street sat dark under heavy fog. Then a shape emerged from the mist. A boy, 8 years old, too thin. A gray hoodie hung loose on his frame. 4 large dogs walked beside him. No leashes, no chaos. They moved like soldiers. The boy didn't smile. His eyes looked hollow, carved out by exhaustion. He glanced over his shoulder. Checking. Always checking. The dogs walked tight against him, guarding. A man heading to work pulled out his phone, snapped a photo through the fog. Later, he posted it online. Why is this kid walking 4 huge dogs alone at 5:30 a.m.? In the image, the boy wore a backpack, bulging, heavy. Before we continue, hit like and subscribe. Drop your country in the comments. I love seeing where our stories reach. The coastal town of Seaside knew everyone. Neighbors waved at neighbors. Strangers didn't stay strangers long, but this boy remained a ghost. For 6 months, he appeared every morning at exactly 5:30. Same route, same 4 dogs, no variation. His name was Liam. The dogs had names too. Rex, a massive German shepherd who always led the pack. Molly, a golden retriever who stayed glued to Liam's left side. Duke, a husky mix on the right. Ash, a black dog with Rottweiler blood who walked last, constantly turning his head to scan behind them. They never barked, never lunged at passing cars. They moved like soldiers on patrol. Liam never took them to the park where other dog owners gathered. He followed the coastal path, the route that hugged the cliffs where fog hung thickest and foot traffic stayed sparse. The backpack weighed him down. Some mornings, his right shoulder dipped lower than his left. Margaret Thompson, who ran the bakery on Main Street, watched him pass every morning. That boy never buys anything, just walks by fast, eyes on the ground. Paul Harris, a fisherman who worked the early shift, had tried once to strike up conversation. "Hey there, son. Those are some beautiful dogs you got." Liam had flinched, jerked the dogs away, hurried down the path without a word. The photos started appearing on social media. The mystery boy of 5 a.m. Why does he walk alone? Comments exploded. This is child neglect. Someone should call CPS. What if someone is making him do this? Theories multiplied. Labor exploitation, abuse, a runaway situation. Then someone posted a 10-second video clip. In it, Liam walked down the middle of the empty street. He stopped suddenly, turned his head toward a parked sedan with tinted windows. All 4 dogs erupted, snarling, barking, teeth bared. Liam yanked them forward, stumbling, hands shaking. He grabbed them again, pulled the dogs away, ran. The video cut off. The comment section exploded. He's terrified. Someone is following him. This kid needs help now. Within 48 hours, the hashtag MysteryBoy5am spread across local social media. He's being forced to walk dogs for money. The dogs aren't his. He's protecting someone. He's homeless, and those dogs are strays. A group of concerned parents created a Facebook group, Protect Seaside's Children. Membership hit 200 within a day. They decided to monitor Liam, not confront him, just observe from a distance. Document his routine. Gather evidence. Rachel Carter volunteered first. 62 years old, retired elementary school teacher, former social worker. She'd spent 30 years reading the body language of children in crisis. She knew what fear looked like. Morning 1. Rachel parked her car 3 blocks away and followed on foot. Liam took his usual route along the coast. The 4 dogs maintained their tight formation. Disciplined, almost military. Morning 2. Liam stopped near a rocky outcrop where the path widened. He crouched down, unzipped the backpack. Rachel raised her binoculars. Dog food. He pulled out 4 metal bowls, poured kibble from Ziploc bags, set the bowls in a neat row. The dogs didn't rush. They waited until Liam stepped back. Then they ate slowly, one bowl each. Liam watched them, ran his hand along each dog's back, whispered something Rachel couldn't hear. After the dogs finished, he pulled out a small plastic container. Inside, 2 pieces of bread, a bruised apple. He ate quickly, barely chewing, eyes scanning the empty path. Then he packed everything away, wiped the bowls with a rag, tucked them back into the bag. Rachel's chest tightened. This wasn't a job. This was care. Deliberate. Practiced. But why? That afternoon, another neighbor, Tom Dawson, a mechanic, stopped by the Facebook group's thread. He posted a comment that made everyone pause. "Those dogs, I've seen them before. They look exactly like Old Man Miller's dogs. Miller used to live in that cabin near the woods. He disappeared like 7 months ago. No one's seen him since. People figured he just up and left or died out there. No family to check on him." The thread went silent for a full minute. Then someone typed, "Miller's cabin. Someone needs to check it." Rachel Carter grabbed her keys. She drove toward the woods. When she reached the overgrown trail leading to Miller's property, she saw them. Fresh footprints in the mud, small, child-sized, and 4 sets of paw prints. Rachel Carter became obsessed. She documented everything: timestamps, routes, patterns. Liam appeared every morning at 5:30. No deviation. The routine never changed. The walk lasted 90 minutes, from the old neighborhood, along the coastal path, into the woods, then back. Rachel compiled questions in a small notebook. Why does an 8-year-old boy need to do this? Where are his parents? She decided to dig deeper, called the elementary school office, claimed she was doing a community census. "Do you have a student named Liam enrolled, around 8 years old?" The secretary checked. No one by that name in the past 2 years. She asked neighbors on Liam's street. A few new fragments. "That boy lives with his grandmother, end of Maple Street. The little house with the peeling paint and the rusted fence." Rachel found it. Small, single story. The mailbox leaned to one side, stuffed with junk mail. She knocked. Footsteps shuffled inside. Slow, unsteady. The door cracked open. A woman appeared. 70 years old, maybe older. Thin. Pale. Her hands trembled as they gripped the doorframe. "Yes?" "Hi, my name is Rachel Carter. I'm a neighbor. I've been seeing your grandson walking dogs in the early mornings, and I just wanted to make sure everything is okay." The woman's face tightened. "My grandson is fine. He's a good boy. Please don't bother him." "I'm not here to cause trouble." Please." The woman's voice cracked. "Don't make this harder for him." Rachel softened her tone. "Why does he have to walk the dogs so early?" The woman looked down. Her voice dropped to barely a whisper. "It was his grandfather's dying wish." Rachel blinked. "His grandfather?" The woman nodded. Tears welled up but didn't fall. "My husband, William Hayes. He passed 6 months ago. Heart disease. Before he died, he had 4 dogs. Loved them more than anything. Used to walk them every morning before dawn. Liam promised him he'd take care of them." Rachel's throat tightened. "So, Liam is keeping that promise?" "Yes." But something still didn't add up. "Why can't he just feed them at home? Why does he have to walk them into the woods?" The woman hesitated. Her hands shook harder. "I don't know. He won't tell me." "He's hiding something from me, too." Rachel felt the weight of those words settle in her chest. "Mrs. Hayes, your grandson might be in trouble. Will you let me help him?" The old woman looked at her for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Please, I'm too weak to protect him anymore." Rachel decided to follow Liam the next morning. Closer this time. 5:30. Liam emerged from the house, 4 dogs flanking him, backpack pulling his shoulders down. Rachel kept her distance, 50 meters. Far enough not to spook him, close enough not to lose him in the fog. Liam took the coastal path as always, but instead of stopping at the rocky outcrop, he kept going. Deeper. Into the woods. Rachel's heartbeat quickened. She'd never seen him go this far before. The path narrowed. Trees pressed in from both sides. The ground turned soft. Damp from the marine layer that rolled in every night. Then Liam turned off the main trail. He slipped into a gap between two thick bushes, the dogs following without hesitation. Rachel waited. Counted to 10. Then followed. She had to crouch to fit through the undergrowth. Branches scratched her arms. Her shoes sank into mud. After about 5 minutes, the trees opened up. A small clearing appeared, and in the center stood a cabin. Old, weathered wood, moss on the roof. But it wasn't abandoned. The windows were clean. Someone had wiped them recently. A stack of firewood sat neatly by the front door, and from inside came the sound of barking. Not 4 dogs. More. Rachel froze. Liam opened the cabin door. The barking grew louder. Excited. Happy. He stepped inside and closed the door behind him. Rachel crept closer. Found a window with a small gap in the curtain, peered through. Her breath caught. Inside the cabin were 9 dogs. Different breeds, different sizes. Some old, some young. A few looked thin, ribs visible under their coats. Liam moved through them with practiced efficiency. He poured food into metal bowls lined up against the wall, refilled water dishes, grabbed a broom, and swept up scattered kibble. The dogs swarmed him, licking his hands, wagging tails, nuzzling his legs. He wasn't just feeding them, he was caring for them. Methodically, like a shelter worker. But he was 8 years old. Rachel's mind spun. Where did these dogs come from? How long had he been doing this? And why alone? Then she heard it. A loud crack. From somewhere behind the cabin. Liam's head snapped toward the sound. The 4 big dogs, Rex, Molly, Duke, Ash, bolted for the door. Barking erupted. Violent. Defensive. The noise came again. Louder. Closer. Something large was moving through the brush behind the cabin. Rachel's pulse spiked. She pressed herself against the cabin wall. Liam ran outside, his face drained of color. The 4 dogs charged past him. They formed a line between Liam and the woods. Rex stood at the front, hackles raised. Molly and Duke flanked him. Ash circled back, positioning himself closest to Liam. Then it emerged from the trees. A black bear. Massive, easily 250 pounds. It lumbered toward the cabin, nose sniffing the air. The dogs exploded into a frenzy of barking. Deep, guttural, warning! The bear stopped, assessed the situation. Liam didn't run. He stood frozen, feet planted, fists clenched. His voice came out shaky but loud. "Get back! Go away!" The bear took another step forward. Rex lunged, snapped his jaws in the air. The other dogs joined in, barking so loud Rachel's ears rang. The bear rose onto its hind legs, towering. Liam's knees buckled slightly, but he didn't move. He raised his arms above his head, making himself look bigger. "Go! Get out of here!" Rex darted forward again. Closer this time. His teeth clicked together inches from the bear's front paw. Duke and Ash moved in from the sides. Molly stayed locked beside Liam. The standoff lasted seconds but felt like hours. Finally, the bear lowered itself back to all fours. It huffed, snorted, turned its massive head side to side. 4 dogs, 1 small human. Too much noise, too much risk. The bear backed away, slowly, then turned and crashed back into the woods. The dogs kept barking until the sound of breaking branches faded completely. Liam collapsed to his knees. He wrapped his arms around Rex, burying his face in the dog's thick fur. "Good boy. Good boy." His whole body shook, but he didn't cry. Rachel stepped out from behind the cabin. "Are you okay?" Liam spun around. His eyes went wide with terror. "Who are you?" "I'm Rachel. I'm a neighbor. I've been worried about you." Liam scrambled backward. "You're going to call the police. You're going to take them away." "Take who away?" "The dogs," his voice cracked. "They'll send them to the pound. They'll kill them. Please don't. Please." Rachel knelt down slowly, keeping her hands visible. "I'm not going to call anyone. But you need to tell me what's going on. Why are you doing this alone?" Liam stared at her. His lip trembled. "Because I promised my grandpa. I promised I'd protect them." Rachel's heart broke. "Then let me help you keep that promise." Liam led Rachel inside the cabin. The interior was cleaner than expected. No clutter, no trash. Everything organized with the precision of someone who'd been trained. Bags of dog food stacked against one wall. Metal bowls arranged in neat rows. Water dishes filled to the same level. A broom leaning in the corner. A first aid kit on a wooden shelf. The 9 dogs settled down, watching Liam, waiting for instruction. Rachel scanned the room. Her eyes landed on a worn leather journal sitting on a small table near the window. "What's that?" Liam walked over, picked it up carefully, like it was fragile, sacred. "It's my grandpa's, and Mr. Miller's." "Miller? The man who used to live here?" Liam nodded. "He was Grandpa's best friend. They wrote in it together." Rachel opened the journal. The pages were filled with handwriting. 2 distinct styles, alternating entries. Dates going back 20 years. She read aloud. "March 3rd, 1998. Found a stray near the docks. Matted fur, infected paw. We'll find him a home." Another entry. "June 10th, 2002. Rescued a pregnant dog. 6 puppies. All found families." Rachel flipped through more pages. Dozens of entries. Hundreds of dogs logged. Names, breeds, conditions, outcomes. This wasn't just a hobby. It was a mission. "Your grandfather and Mr. Miller ran a rescue operation." "They didn't want anyone to know," Liam said quietly. "Grandpa said if people found out, the town would shut it down. Too many rules, too much paperwork." "They just wanted to save the dogs." Rachel looked at him. "So when your grandfather got sick, and Mr. Miller was already gone, you took over." "I had to. I promised him." "How many have you saved, Liam?" He hesitated. 13. Since Grandpa died. 4 of them already have new homes. These 9 are still waiting. Rachel's throat tightened. 13 dogs. An 8-year-old boy. 6 months of early mornings, heavy backpacks, secret walks. Then her phone buzzed. A text from the Facebook group. Someone just called the police. They're investigating the boy. Rachel's blood went cold. She looked at Liam. "We need to move fast." Rachel drove Liam back to his grandmother's house. They moved quickly, hid the evidence, brushed the dirt off his clothes. But they were too late. A patrol car sat parked in front of the house when they arrived. Officer James Walker stood on the porch, talking to Mrs. Hayes. Mid-40s, buzz cut, arms crossed. The kind of cop who followed rules because rules were rules. Mrs. Hayes looked terrified. Rachel and Liam got out of the car. Walker turned toward them. "You must be Liam." Liam froze, his hands balled into fists. Rachel stepped forward. "I'm Rachel Carter. I'm a family friend." Walker's eyes narrowed. A family friend who just happens to show up right now. "I was helping." "Helping with what, exactly?" Mrs. Hayes spoke up, voice shaking. "Officer, my grandson isn't doing anything wrong. He's just walking dogs." At 5:30 in the morning, alone, every single day for 6 months. Walker pulled out a notepad. That's not normal behavior for an 8-year-old. He made a promise to his grandfather. "I understand that, ma'am. But we've received multiple reports, concerned citizens. Some think this might be a case of neglect. Or worse, Neglect? Mrs. Hayes's voice cracked. I love my grandson. I'm not saying you don't. But I have to do my job. Walker looked at Liam. Son, why do you have to go out so early? Where do you take those dogs? Liam didn't answer. His jaw locked tight. Liam, Walker said, firmer now, I need you to cooperate. Still nothing. Walker sighed. I'm going to have to file a report. Child Protective Services will be notified. They'll want to do a home assessment within 48 hours. Mrs. Hayes gasped. You're going to take him away from me? Not necessarily. But if they find the living situation unsuitable, or if there's any indication of harm, they'll have to intervene. Rachel's mind raced. If CPS got involved, they'd dig deeper. Find the cabin, discover the dogs, and then animal control would get called. Walker closed his notebook. I'll be checking the area tomorrow morning. If I see Liam out there again, alone, before dawn, I'll have no choice but to escalate this. He walked to his car, drove away. Mrs. Hayes collapsed into a chair, sobbing. Liam stood still, silent. Rachel pulled out her phone, dialed a number she hadn't called in years. A woman answered. This is Dr. Sarah Bennett. Sarah, it's Rachel. I need your help. Now. The next morning, Liam left the house at 5:30 as always. He knew Officer Walker would be watching, but he couldn't stop. The dogs needed him. Walker was already parked 2 blocks away when Liam stepped onto the street. The officer followed at a distance. Liam tried a different route, cut through side streets. But Rex, Molly, Duke, and Ash knew the way. They pulled toward the woods. Walker saw the turn. He radioed in. Following the subject near Old Miller Road, requesting backup. Liam heard the static crackle behind him. His heart hammered. He started running. The dogs ran with him. Walker's patrol car couldn't follow the narrow trail, so he parked and continued on foot. Liam reached the cabin. He threw open the door. The 9 dogs inside barked, sensing his panic. Run! Go! But the dogs didn't run. They circled him, pressed close. Loyal. Liam dropped to his knees, wrapped his arms around as many as he could reach. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Walker emerged from the trees. He stopped when he saw the cabin. The dogs. The boy on the ground. Tears streaming down his face. He stepped closer. Looked through the open door. Clean bowls. Stacked food bags. A schedule written on cardboard. Feeding times, water changes, cleaning rotation. A child's handwriting. Walker's expression shifted. This wasn't neglect. This was something else entirely. His partner, Officer Linda Grant, arrived a few minutes later. She took one look at the scene and went quiet. He's been running a shelter, she said softly. Alone. Walker knelt down in front of Liam. Son, how long have you been doing this? Liam couldn't answer. His throat closed up. Grant radioed in. We need animal control. Multiple dogs. No permits. No. Liam's voice broke. Please don't. They'll kill them. He grabbed Rex's collar, refused to let go. Walker put a hand on his shoulder. Kid, we have to follow the law. Then tires crunched on gravel. A car pulled up. Rachel got out. And with her, a woman in her late 30s. Confident. Calm. She wore a veterinary clinic jacket. Dr. Sarah Bennett. Sarah walked straight up to Walker. Officer, before you make that call, give me 48 hours. Who are you? I'm a licensed veterinarian and the founder of Coastal Animal Rescue. I can register this location as a temporary foster site. All legal. But I need time to process the paperwork. Walker hesitated, looked at Liam, looked at the dogs. 48 hours, he said finally. Not a minute more. Sarah knelt in front of Liam. Do you trust me? Liam looked into her eyes, saw something he hadn't seen in months. Hope. He nodded. Sarah worked fast. She brought Rachel, Liam, and Officer Walker back inside the cabin. She examined each dog, checked their teeth, their coats, their energy levels. Every single one was healthy. No malnutrition. No disease. No signs of abuse. "Whoever's been caring for these animals knows what they're doing," Sarah said. Walker looked at Liam. "You did all this?" Liam nodded. "How?" Liam walked over to the shelf, pulled down the leather journal. "My grandpa taught me, before he died." Sarah opened the journal. Her hand stilled when she saw the names at the top of the first page. William Hayes and Robert Miller. She looked up sharply. "Robert Miller? You knew him?" Rachel asked. Sarah's voice softened. 20 years ago, I was fresh out of vet school, broke, struggling. Robert Miller brought me a dog he'd found on the side of the highway, hit by a car. He had no money, but he begged me to save it. I did. For free. He came back every week after that with more animals. Strays, injured, abandoned. We worked together for years. She flipped through the journal, stopped at an entry near the back. "If I'm gone, call Dr. Sarah Bennett. She'll help." Her phone number was written underneath, the same number Rachel had called. Sarah closed the journal, looked at Liam. "Why didn't you call me?" Liam's voice was barely a whisper. "I was scared. I thought if I told anyone, they'd take the dogs away, and I'd break my promise." Sarah knelt down. "Your grandfather and Robert saved over 100 dogs in 20 years. You've saved 13 in 6 months. You didn't break your promise, Liam. You honored it." Walker cleared his throat. "So what happens now?" Sarah stood. "I'm registering this cabin as an official foster site under Coastal Animal Rescue. It'll be legal, inspected, up to code. But I'm going to need help. Volunteers, funding, community support." Rachel pulled out her phone, opened the Facebook group. She posted a photo of Liam surrounded by the 9 dogs. The caption read, "This 8-year-old boy has been rescuing dogs alone for 6 months. He needs our help. Who's in?" Within 2 hours, the post went viral. Within 2 hours, Rachel's post had been shared 300 times. The hashtag Liam the Hero started trending. Comments flooded in. Hundreds, then thousands. An 8-year-old boy did what most adults wouldn't even try. We need to help him. I want to adopt one of those dogs. Rachel sat at her kitchen table, watching the numbers climb. Sarah called her. "Rachel, my phone hasn't stopped ringing. 12 families want to adopt. 4 people want to volunteer. Someone just offered $5,000. Rachel's voice shook. This is really happening. By the end of the day, the Facebook group had grown to over 800 members. They renamed it Support Liam and Hayes Miller Rescue. Rachel wrote a full post explaining the history. "This isn't just a story about a boy walking dogs. This is a story about loyalty, about a promise made to a dying grandfather, about love that survives loss." She detailed everything. How William Hayes and Robert Miller had spent 20 years quietly rescuing strays, how they operated in secret, how when both men passed away, an 8-year-old boy became the sole keeper of their legacy. "Liam has been waking up at 4:30 every morning for 6 months. He feeds 9 dogs. He cleans their space. He does this alone because he made a promise. He sold his birthday bike to buy dog food when he ran out of money." The detail about the bike hit people hardest. Margaret Thompson posted, "I thought that boy was strange. I was wrong. Starting tomorrow, I'm donating 50 loaves of bread a week and all my tip jar cash." Paul Harris wrote, "I saw him every morning and did nothing. Not anymore. I'll patrol the woods. And I'm donating $2,000. Families started stepping forward. 12 households applied to adopt. Sarah reviewed each one carefully. A construction crew volunteered to repair the cabin. A hardware store donated supplies. The mayor's office offered $10,000 a year in funding. Then someone unexpected showed up at Rachel's door. An older man, late 70s, thin, walked with a cane. "My name is George Porter," he said. "I need to talk to the boy." Rachel frowned. "Why?" The man's voice cracked. "Because 40 years ago, Robert Miller saved my life." Rachel let him in. George sat down slowly. "I was 25, lost everything, ready to end it." He paused. "Robert found me at 3 a.m., handed me a puppy, said, 'This little guy needs you.'" George's eyes filled with tears. "That dog saved my life. Never forgot what Robert did." He looked at Rachel. "I want to fund the entire rescue, whatever it costs, and I want it named after William and Robert." Rachel's throat tightened. "The Hayes Miller Memorial Rescue." George nodded. "Exactly." Rachel asked Liam if he'd be willing to share his story. The full story. The one he'd been holding inside for 6 months. They sat in the cabin, just the two of them, the dogs resting quietly around them. Liam didn't speak for a long time. Then, slowly, he began. "Grandpa got sick 7 months ago. His heart was bad. The doctor said he didn't have much time. His voice stayed flat, controlled. He was in the hospital, machines everywhere, beeping." Liam's hands clenched into fists. "One morning, he told me to come close. His voice was so quiet, I had to put my ear next to his mouth." He stopped, swallowed hard. He said, "Liam, I need you to do something for me. The dogs. You have to take care of them. Promise me." Rachel stayed silent. Let him continue. "I promised. I didn't even think about it. I just said yes." Liam looked down at his hands. "The next few days, even though he was dying, he taught me everything. How to measure food, how to check if a dog is sick, how to clean wounds, how to make them listen, how to find good homes for them." His voice cracked. "He made me write it all down. He made me repeat it back to him, over and over. He wanted to make sure I'd remember." A tear slid down Liam's cheek. He didn't wipe it away. "On the last morning, he asked me to bring Rex, Molly, Duke, and Ash to the hospital. The nurses said no at first, but Grandpa begged, so they let us in through the back door." Liam's breath hitched. "He petted each one, said goodbye, told them to protect me. Then he looked at me and said, 'Don't let them go to the pound. Promise me they won't die in a cage.'" Liam's voice dropped to a whisper. "I promised." He looked up at Rachel, eyes red. "He died that afternoon." Rachel reached out, took his hand. "You kept your promise, Liam. Your grandfather would be so proud." Liam shook his head. "But I'm so tired." "I don't know if I can keep doing this." Rachel squeezed his hand. "You don't have to do it alone anymore." 48 hours after Rachel's post went viral, the town of Seaside transformed. People who had once whispered about Liam now showed up to help him. Margaret Thompson didn't just donate bread. She started a weekly fundraiser at her bakery. Every Saturday, 10% of all sales went directly to Hayes Miller Rescue. Paul Harris organized a volunteer patrol. 6 fishermen and dock workers took turns walking the trails near the cabin, making sure wildlife stayed away and that Liam was never alone. The Facebook group, now renamed Friends of Hayes Miller Rescue, topped 1,000 members. They organized shifts, created schedules, covered feeding times, cleaning duties, vet appointments. Liam didn't have to wake up at 4:30 anymore. The elementary school invited him to speak to the students. His teacher, Ms. Maria Gonzalez, stood beside him as he told his story to a room full of kids his age. "You don't have to be big to make a difference," he said quietly. "You just have to care." The students gave him a standing ovation. Officer Walker stopped by the cabin one afternoon. He didn't come to inspect. He came to apologize. "I almost made the biggest mistake of my career," he told Liam. I'm sorry I didn't see what you were really doing." Liam nodded. No words, but his expression softened. Walker handed him a card. "If you ever need help, you call me. Anytime." Then came the adoptions. All 9 dogs at the cabin found homes. Sarah personally vetted every family, made surprise visits, checked references twice. On the day the last dog left, Liam stood outside the cabin and watched the family drive away. The dog, a scruffy terrier mix named Benny, looked back through the rear window, tail wagging. Liam's chest ached, but he smiled. Sarah walked up beside him. "You gave him a chance at a real life." Liam nodded. Then Sarah said something that made his heart stop. "But Rex, Molly, Duke, and Ash, they're staying with you. Forever." Liam turned to her, eyes wide. "Really? Really? Those 4 are yours. Your grandfather would want that." After the last dog left, Liam went home. He walked through the front door, closed it behind him, walked straight to his room. Mrs. Hayes heard the door click shut. Then she heard something that made her heart stop. Crying. Not quiet tears. Deep, gut-wrenching sobs. She knocked softly. "Liam? Sweetheart?" No answer. Just the sound of a child breaking apart. She opened the door. Liam was on the floor, curled up, clutching his grandfather's old flannel shirt, the one he'd kept hidden under his pillow for 6 months. "Grandpa, I did it. I kept my promise." His voice cracked between sobs. "But why aren't you here? Why did you leave me?" Mrs. Hayes dropped to her knees beside him. She wrapped her arms around her grandson and held him as tightly as she could. "I miss him so much," Liam gasped. "I miss him every single day." "I know, baby, I know." For 6 months, Liam had carried the weight alone. He'd woken up before dawn, walked miles, fed 13 dogs, protected them from bears and strangers and the law. He'd done the work of 3 adults without complaint, but he was still just a child. And now, with no more dogs to save, no more mission to complete, the grief he'd been holding back came flooding out. He cried until his body shook, until he couldn't breathe, until there was nothing left inside him. Mrs. Hayes didn't try to stop him. She just held him. Let him feel it. Let him break. Rachel and Sarah arrived an hour later. They sat on the floor with Liam, no words, just presence. After a long time, Liam's breathing steadied. He looked up at Rachel, eyes swollen. "I was scared that if I stopped, I'd forget him." Rachel brushed his hair back. "You'll never forget him. He's a part of you now." Sarah added, "And you don't have to do it alone anymore." Liam nodded slowly. That night, for the first time in 6 months, he slept past 5:30. The next morning, he woke up naturally. Sunlight streamed through his window. Rex, Molly, Duke, and Ash were sprawled across his floor, sleeping peacefully. Liam sat up, looked at them, smiled. A real smile. Small, but real. Mrs. Hayes had made breakfast. "Eat," she said gently. "Then we'll go for a walk." "We?" "Yes. The dogs and I are coming with you today." Liam looked at her. Then he hugged her. "I love you, Grandma." "I love you too, sweetheart." When they stepped outside, Liam saw something that stopped him in his tracks. 20 neighbors stood in front of his house, waiting. Margaret, Paul, Officer Walker, Ms. Gonzalez, Sarah, Rachel. Families who'd adopted the dogs, all of them holding leashes, ready to walk. Rachel stepped forward. "We figured you could use some company." 2 weeks later, the town held a ceremony in the Central Park. Over 500 people attended. A stage had been set up near the playground. Banners hung from the trees. "Thank you. Liam," and "Hayes Miller Memorial Rescue." Mayor David Thornton stood at the podium. "Today, we honor not just a boy, but a legacy. We honor loyalty. We honor love. We honor the kind of courage that doesn't come from strength, but from the heart. The crowd applauded. Sarah took the stage next. The Hayes Miller Memorial Rescue is now officially registered and operational. We've received $47,000 in donations. The cabin has been fully renovated. We have 15 dedicated volunteers. And none of this would exist without Liam. More applause, louder this time. Then a representative from the National Animal Welfare League stepped up, a woman in her 50s, professional, carrying a plaque and a certificate. Liam Hayes, on behalf of the National Animal Welfare League, we present you with the Young Hero Award for Animal Rescue. This honor is given to individuals under the age of 18 who demonstrate extraordinary compassion and commitment to the welfare of animals. She handed him the plaque, then an envelope. Inside is a scholarship fund, $20,000, for your future education. The crowd erupted. Liam walked onto the stage, too small for the microphone. Someone adjusted it downward. He stood there, silent. Rex, Molly, Duke, and Ash sat beside him, perfectly still. Hundreds of faces stared at him, waiting. Liam's voice came out quiet, shaky. I'm not a hero. I just kept a promise. He paused, looked down at the dogs. My grandpa always said dogs don't just need people. People need dogs too. His voice grew steadier. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for believing in them. The crowd stood. The applause lasted a full minute. After the ceremony, families brought their adopted dogs to the park. Benny, the scruffy terrier, ran up to Liam and licked his face. His new owner, a woman named Jessica Barnes, smiled. He remembers you. Liam knelt down, scratched behind Benny's ears. Good boy. You're safe now. As the sun set, Liam looked up at the sky. A cloud drifted past, shaped like a heart. He whispered, I see you, Grandpa. 3 months later, the Hayes Miller Memorial Rescue operated 6 days a week. Volunteers rotated shifts. Sarah oversaw medical care. Rachel managed operations. Liam went to school like a normal kid. But every afternoon, he went to the cabin. Not because he had to, because he wanted to. He taught other kids how to care for the dogs. Showed them how to measure food, how to recognize signs of illness, how to approach a scared animal. A special program started at the elementary school, Animal Compassion Club. Liam was the youngest assistant instructor. Rex, Molly, Duke, and Ash became certified therapy dogs. They visited hospitals, nursing homes, schools. Everywhere they went, people asked about the boy who'd saved them. One afternoon, Liam and Sarah drove to a care facility across town. An elderly man had requested a visit. His name was George Porter. George sat in a wheelchair near a window, frail, pale. But his eyes lit up when he saw the dogs. Thank you for coming, he said. Liam sat beside him. Dr. Bennett said you knew Mr. Miller. George nodded. He saved my life 40 years ago. Gave me a puppy when I had nothing left to live for. He reached out a trembling hand. Rex stepped forward, rested his head in George's lap. Love doesn't end, George said quietly. It just gets passed on. Liam smiled. My grandpa said the same thing. As they left, George called out, Keep going, son. The world needs more people like you. Back at the cabin, a new face appeared. A boy, 7 years old, shy, nervous. His name was Tyler. Rachel introduced him. Tyler's family just moved here. He's been asking if he could volunteer. Liam looked at the boy, saw himself 6 months ago, scared, uncertain, but wanting to help. You ever fed a dog before? Tyler shook his head. Come on, I'll teach you. That evening, Liam walked along the coastal path. Not at 5:30 in the morning, at 6 in the evening. The sun was setting. The fog was gone. Mrs. Hayes walked beside him, Rachel and Sarah a few steps behind. Tyler ran ahead with the dogs, laughing. Liam looked out at the ocean. The waves rolled in, steady, endless. He thought about his grandfather, about Robert Miller, about all the dogs they'd saved over 20 years. And now he was part of that story. Not the end of it, the continuation. He whispered into the wind. "We're doing it, Grandpa. We're keeping the promise." The wind blew back, gentle, warm, like an answer. A promise kept, a legacy passed, a love that never ends.